but they don't. One, he is a liar. This man doesn't know the truth. The truth is far from him. He is lying while he said it, which is why he stumbled. I love my son. He was trying to come up with something right then and there, knowing that he has to play to his base for his political run. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Maryland, where your 13-year-old and 14-year-old can do whatever they want. They don't need permission to get a Tylenol, let alone a sex change or an abortion.
Son comes in saying he wants to transition. What do you do?
Well, first, I mean, if it's my son, so I love him regardless, right? And he's always going to have my undying love. That's me, right? I want to make sure that I'm involved in understanding where he is, how he's feeling, the way he's feeling, why he thinks it's important. If this is a journey that he wants to go down, I want him to always be comfortable in his own skin.
Ooh.
And I want him to always know that he has a partner in me to help him along that journey.
Would you advise him to wait till he's 18?
If this is how he is feeling and I feel like I'm closely tied to him, I'm not going to advise him on something that he feels is
at 14 years old, Wes?
No, I understand it. But what I'm saying is the most important thing for me is I want him to feel safe in his own skin, safe in his own decision-making, but also know that at 14 years old, I want to be involved inside of that process as well. I'm not going to condemn him nor castigate him. I'm not going to kick him out of the house. I'm not going to do anything that's going to hurt him.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure that I'm involved.
Nobody asked you all that. We asked, were you going to let him get a sex change? And you said yes. Folks, set aside the political party. This is disbarring for me. Why would anybody vote for this man? Nicole, were you first before you give a reaction to what he said, were you expecting him to say that?
Yes, because he panders. He's a panderer. This is what he does. He is a king panderer. He's not going to say, as a Christian man, I'm going to sit my son down and I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to get him in some intensive therapy and we're going to figure out what the problem is. We're going to dig down to the root of the problem. You know, were you molested? Who's teaching you this stuff? Where'd you get it from? You're going to dig deep and then you're going to beat him over the head repeatedly with the Jesus stick. There's going to be scripture and verse everywhere because I need to get that demon up out of you, son. You were born a boy. I want you to stay a boy. This is what we want for your life. He says, no, I just want to be connected to him. I just want to be connected to him. Well, if you were connected to him, he would know that he's a boy. He wouldn't have this gender dysphoria, which for many, many, many years was considered a mental illness.
Right.
For many, many years. And I'm going to tell you, as a healthcare executive, we still consider it a mental illness. You can't walk into my office and say, hey, I want to be on Lupron because, you know, we lost in softball and I feel like I'd be better off playing with girls. No, sir. We're not having that. We're not having one moment of that conversation. It's not only the physicalness of the surgery, it's the hormones. That is the part that changes you at the cellular level forever. There's no coming back from it. You could be on Lupron a year and then stop, and you're still going to have the effects of that horrible, horrible hormone blocking drug in your system. So it's not a do-over. And this is not a time to be like, oh, well, things will be okay. Things are not going to be okay. If your kid comes to you and tells you that they think they're in the wrong body, there's something horribly wrong. Red lights should be flashing in your home. That's what should be happening. And I think if he were being honest, if he lived up to all those clips we saw him almost singing, you know, songs in church because he don't know the words to anything, but standing, you know, feet away from the pulpit. Is that really the man that he is? Is that what his Christianity teaches him? Absolutely. Love the sinner, but hate the sin.
Right. Michelle, I mean, and Nicole, you brought up a good point. Michelle, why are Christians going to even consider voting for this guy after that reaction, after that response?
Because the strong Christians aren't watching that anyways. So they're not paying attention to that. And so it's everybody else, right? They're going to, like Nicole said, they're going to look at that little clip where he's waving his Bible like, this is the only thing I know, though I've never even opened it up and read it. Not even once. He darn near smacked himself in the face, just trying to, maybe get the word on him that way. He was going to get the Lord by hitting himself. I don't know. But they don't. He is a liar. This man doesn't know the truth. The truth is far from him. He is lying while he said it, which is why he stumbled. I love my son. He was trying to come up with something right then and there, knowing that he has to play to his base for his political run. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Maryland, where your 13-year-old and 14-year-old can do whatever they want. They don't need permission to get a Tylenol, let alone a sex change or an abortion. I spoke against bills in Annapolis against these things, and they passed it anyways. So he knows where he needs the votes, but he's lying. He's bold-faced lying, and Christians aren't paying attention enough. They're playing this, they've got this whole political ideology going on. They're hearing things from the church. It's all race, religion. It's more about, who we are as a culture and not who we are in the Lord. And that's what we talk about on our show all the time. So, and as far as allowing, this conversation is disgusting. It's got to stop. Allowing a 14-year-old, I have 6 kids, 3 boys, 3 girls. If one of my 14-year-old boys came to me, I would say, son, you barely have hair down there. Your cojones haven't even dropped. Give me you better sit down somewhere. You better go read a book, not one from the public school library. I homeschool my kids, but go do something. You need to stay busy so that you can get the help you need. I've got plenty of things to do, but changing your genitalia is not one thing that you're going to do. Not unless you're 18 years old and you don't live here. That's not what we're doing. You need to be healthy. That's it. And this whole I'm glad he asked that question, because it put him on the spot so we could see once he's willing to lie about anything. He's willing to wave his Bible one second and lie about giving his son a sex change the next.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I don't understand it. And I don't understand how Black people continue to vote for this guy. I really don't. Oh my gosh. We all were there, except for Nicole. When he came, he did the CBS event here in Maryland. And we've talked about this on this show before, how he did this CBS event and was all pretty much planned. Okay. But this week he has been sharing clips from this video from the CBS event where the CBS town hall here in Maryland. He's been sharing the clip that I had with where I asked him a question about me being a former Democrat. How would he win back votes from people like me? Long Marylander and a former Democrat and a Black woman. I left the party because I got tired of hearing racial framing on every issue that didn't solve real problems like crime, failing schools, high taxes, and cost of living. So how will you earn back voters like me who want results, not racial narratives?
Amen, KJ, and thank you.
Yeah,
and thank you for your question too. I don't come from a political background. It's true. When I remember, when I told my family that I was going to get ready to run for governor, I had members of my family who I had to convince to vote for me. And it's not because we're not cool, like we're cool. I had to convince some of my family to vote.
What's that got to do with
that's just not our background. And the truth is that part of it is the challenge of party, because I think if you ask members of my party, members of my family, which party has failed you when you think about the policies that have impacted my family, they couldn't tell you who was in charge. They couldn't tell you if it was a Democratic idea or a Republican idea. They just know it was a bad idea that hurt us. So I hear your frustration. And I think in this moment, that the job of the Democratic Party is not to just energize the base. It's to enlarge it. It's to speak to everybody. I think about being here right now. in Dorchester County. You know, I lost Dorchester County by 14 points when I ran for governor. And you know, this is my 17th time in Dorchester County since I have been the governor. And people say, you know, you're spending a lot of time in Dorchester. You know, there's a lot of Republicans. And I said, yeah, there are a lot of Marylanders. And that's all I need to know. If they're a Marylander, they're good with me, and we're going to keep showing up.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's what people have to do. It's not about just how do you energize a base or give the party the red meat. It's about how do you focus on actually addressing the issues.
Yeah, you didn't address it.
You didn't
You didn't address my question.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? The whole time while he was sitting in lovely Cambridge, and for people who aren't familiar with the geography of Maryland, Cambridge is just over the Bay Bridge. It's on the eastern shore of Maryland. And if you will recall, there was a gigantic raw sewage spill that was spewing hundreds of millions of gallons of raw Montgomery County shit into said waterways. Did he say anything about poisoning the shore, costing jobs, taking fishermen and watermen out of what? No, what they did is they pulled in Montgomery County and Prince George's County Democrats across the Bay Bridge to sit there and smile at the camera and ask them pre-approved questions.
I have to say something. That clip that you just played, KJ, they actually caught on. My facial expressions, I know Josh saw it and somebody else, they were so bad. I tried, guys, I held back. They started darkening my face and blurring some of it out on his reposting clips. Because when I watched the original, you could see me crystal clear. Yeah. And when you pan out to the other side, so I think the jig is up. I was not a Democrat. They thought I was, and I was not. Even that last clip is me. I am much darker and blurred out. I was like, ain't that a mess? Oh, you don't want the real reactions to your lies, you BSer. You couldn't even answer the question. You couldn't answer the question.
Please share this broadcast, because he is going around, sharing this video as if this was some great response that he gave. And many actual Democrats reached back out to me after the CBS show aired, and they were like, he didn't answer your question. He gave you some word salad. That was not they were Democrats. So, thank God there are some, critical thinking people still left who say, you know what, we saw through him. We saw past it. He didn't want to answer it, and he gave you some jibber jabber.